Alright guys, welcome to VALORANT News. NRG in a difficult situation right now after getting destroyed by G2 embarrassingly last night. Lots of questions being raised on what their future is as a team after getting rid of Verdo not that long ago and bringing Brook into the team. Have they necessarily got any better? Did they make their own change? What does Leaf have to think about it? Because he was confused as to why NRG were just pathetic on the server last night. Lots of other interesting results to discuss as well. Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it, but it does not look like the FNS Farewell Tour is going so well as it stands. Couple of big games going down in China. We had Edward Gaming play TEC and Titan Esports Club go down, but it was, in the end, a 2-1 series. This, of course, RB's team on the other side. Notably, Smoggy had an absolute takeover masterclass. But EDG are not changing their mind yet on their roster change. We know that they've taken Simon out and they've put in Gianni, and the results so far have been a little bit up and down. Simon's still listed under the team. He's not, like inactive or whatever, right? So technically it's a 6-man roster, but for now this is what they're going with, and it seems to be working out for them for the time being, kind of. I mean, I don't know, what do you guys think about it? They won this series. It wasn't exactly dominant. They lost the game 1 on the Lotus. They then won the Icebox, and then they closed out the Haven pretty impressively so here, but even then, their new man, 8 and 18 on the final map. Nobody on the Tejo didn't do that much, but it didn't matter when Smoggy and Chichu had taken over like that. So just interesting to observe, really. It's difficult to have too many takeaways from Edward Gaming in domestic Chinese local games because, they always find a way to win, maybe not that impressive, but in the end it doesn't always matter all that much because they still win regardless. And the other game was JDG against All Gamers, and yeah, All Gamers continue to struggle. They got 2-0'd, and it's not like JDG are, winning the World Championship or anything. And okay, the game won the split 14-12, sure. Close overtime, difficult one, but the Pearl 13-4, absolutely incinerated. Stu goes 24-6 on the Yoru. So, yeah, rough times for All Gamers continue, and this is how things look over there right now. So, I think we also do have probably another series just about getting underway. Yeah, Nova Tyloo is going on today as well, and the groups currently look like this. So, Edward Gaming, Nova, relatively comfortable. All Gamers are cooked. They are in 4. They're not looking good. Titan Esports Club moved down to 2-2 after their results. So, it's all to play for, I'd say, in Group A right now. And Titan Esports Club's last game is against Nova. So that's pretty interesting. This game has just got underway. The pistol round has literally just happened. But speaking of a massively important game in the Pacific that is going on as I'm recording this video, it's PaperX versus Boom Esports. Now, we know that PaperX, they've been struggling lately. Lots of people have criticized their play, their decision-making, their execution, and Boom Esports have looked, I think, by many, probably somewhat better than expected. But still, here we are, and Boom Esports are currently, as of recording, at 1-0 in the series. PaperX went up 4-2 on the game 1. Boom Esports then turned it around. Famous went 27-15 on the Jet, and they won the Pearl 13-10. The ascent, as you guys can see so far, is 3-0 to PaperX. Probably just about to be 4-0. I guess we'll watch a few more seconds here of this round to see how it's going to go, because we're going to see some comments from Ye in a second on maybe the attacking nature of this game and, well, current situation as it stands, where the defense is able to put up as much of a fight compared to attackers they previously have done. But it seems like, at least so far, obviously on Ascent, it is the defensive side that is still going to rule the roost, as it were, and something's in a nice spot to potentially shut this down. So yeah, we'll just conclude how this round ends up turning out. Okay, something gets won. That's probably going to be all she wrote for that one, although something misses the shot, and now he's going to be a little bit careful. But yeah, Boom Esports, we'll see how they get on for the rest of this series, and frankly tournament as well. It's 4-0 to PaperX so far. As Ye says, just throwing an idea out there, how about this to fix the attack versus defense issues? There have been lots of maps where it's a post-plant utility simulator. Sunset, Pearl, Icebox B, Icebox and Fracture A. Now, I don't think he's necessarily wrong. The meta has changed now to some degree. People are playing, as he says, a lot of the time it's you take the site as the attacking team and you play the post plan and you drop loads of utility, and it's really difficult for the defensive team to actually do all that much about it. Certainly Sunset and Pearl are pretty good examples of that. Icebox as well is also no exception. We saw lots of attacking round wins on Icebox, and it's kind of impossible to do much as the defensive team. So Ye's got an idea, which is to either block or reduce damage for damage-related abilities while they're in the range of the spike diffuse, which is a pretty interesting idea. it wouldn't be a drastic change to the game. Well, it kind of would be, but it's not like it's going to affect everything. But in the proximity of the spike diffuse radius, the kind of, I get the point, right? Like, if you're going to put down a Teho or whatever you're going to throw down on the spike itself, and you're going to say, well, there's not much you're going to be able to do about it because we're just going to activate. I'm literally just going to click a button and it's going to prevent you guys from defusing and winning the rounds. It feels a little bit like we could be playing a more skillful game than that. I think that's Ye's perspective, and I would be inclined to agree. Now, it would be a major game-changing decision, right? It wouldn't affect, as I say, everything on the map, but it would be a fundamental change to the gameplay mechanics. And look, would it improve gunfights and strategy and help the gameplay better? I think his answer is probably yeah. I think it's a good idea from Ye. Is it something that can or should or would be executed on? You know, that I think is a different question entirely, but intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about the Americas. Crew Esports played 2G yesterday. And it was a strange one, right? Because 2G, with their new, you know, they've got PXS in, of course, the Zap drama is now concluded. They were pretty good. I mean, okay, they lost game 1 13-6, of course, Crew were the favourites, but then they won the Ascents. They won 6 rounds on the attacking side, and that was good enough once they went to the defensive side to fair play. But then the Pearl, they got clowned. I mean, it was bad. I mean, yeah, he's talking about the attacking side being so dominant, and then Crew come out with a 12-0 defensive side. So, you know, maybe Riot will look at some of the numbers and question those situations. And, well, let's see what happened with G2 and NRG, because frankly, it didn't matter what side they're on. The result was always going to be the same. So, Leaf says, match today against NRG, can't wait to hear the crowd roar in the Howling Abyss today. Now, that of course being because there was no crowd, they were playing behind the scenes, and frankly for NRG, I'm sure they'll be pretty happy that there was no crowd to watch them perform like that. Imi says from C9, NRG winning today. Heard it here first, they're finally going to do it. Now, this is an interesting comment just because, like, he's either taking the mick, or there have been some recent scrims that maybe told something. I don't know, like if you look at NRG's scrim results recently, they're not great, but they're not exactly terrible. And sometimes the teams tweet about, oh, this team is definitely winning champions because in scrims they've been looking pretty good. Whether this is something like that, I don't know what you guys think in the comments below. But, you know, if they are looking good in scrims, then they certainly couldn't translate it into games by any means. And this was a pretty funny one. NRG picked Lotus. They picked Lotus. Playing Lotus against G2 is one thing, but picking it into them on a map where they've won 7 in a row, definitely one of the decisions of all time, right? So they ended up playing the Lotus, and yeah, that didn't necessarily go to plan. So G2, yeah, they're the best team in the Americas. They were expected to win the series. I think they'd win the series, you know, 10 out of 10, you know, 9 out of 10 times, right? But NRG should be better than this, surely, right? Like, there's no excuses to be this bad, this far off the pace. Like, this team is trying to win championships. G2, they're not even the reigning champions, right? I mean, okay, they're the best in the Americas, but internationally, they didn't exactly go to Bangkok and win. So that's why it becomes pretty unacceptable. In the first game, the Lotus, I mean, NRG picked it into them and then just got destroyed by Jorgamo, 27-7, defensive-sided masterclass. NRG got 1 round. And then the second game was, you know, no worse. I mean, technically it was better, but I mean, in many respects it was actually worse because this time they won the pistol and then proceeded to still somehow lose 9 rounds in a row, scraped together a couple of rounds on the Ascent. But even then, right, like, it's Ascent defense side. Like, you shouldn't be losing this many rounds on defensive side of Ascent. It's just not, it shouldn't be possible. But they did it, and they did it well. So, yeah, as Era says, the answer is no, it wasn't working out. And even Chet here was in the replies. Of course, former coach of the team was removed. They brought in Bonkar. Bonkar's now kind of out of the picture. Verno's very much out of the picture too. He's down at MIBR, of course, nowadays, which is still kind of fascinating. But he says masterclass veto, right? So effectively these guys have no idea what they are cooking up. So I wanted to share what Leaf had to say after the series. And he was like, yeah, that was not much of a challenge. They literally did nothing to stop us from winning the series.
Is that light work? Because we hear you. We hear you after the round sometimes, kind of like talking some smack.
That was like the freest game I've ever played. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest.
And that's what the post show is for.
So FNS says, wow, absolutely slammed. And of course he was getting pretty much roasted in the replies here, like time to learn how to flip burgers, 33 never looks so bad, negative on both maps, nice 4K though, I think you tried but it didn't really look like it, maybe you need to turn the stream on, maybe that's a good idea. So Hydrogen Bomb versus Coughing Baby, it wasn't exactly great. And NRG have not started well and they're not continued well, and this is meant to be FNS's farewell tour, right? Like he's going to retire at the end of the season. This team was meant to be pretty good on paper. Mada comes in, maybe they're looking all right. Son, we know that he's a talented player, but as he says, dismantled on both maps, well played to them, played bad individually and as a team. Got to win out, no questions asked. Sorry to the fans. So G2 deserves some credit, sure, like they played some sensational stuff, but we've got to say, this is on NRG looking pretty woeful. And the way that the group currently lines up, NRG are now 1-2. And despite a great win they had against Furia, right, where, they got a good round count on the board here, the 13-4, 13-2, they've now ended up in negative again by getting battered this hard. And that's the issue, right? When you're 1-2, they're now playing MIBR and Lev. Not easy games, for sure. I mean, it's a pretty damn stacked group. But losing in this way, losing is okay, but losing in this manner is bad because it puts you in a real tricky spot potentially when it comes down to tiebreakers and these other things that could affect the team going forward as well. So that's how it looks with NRG in that group. Obviously, the other group as well, we've seen those games kind of conclude for the last couple of days, and it's Furia Lev and then Cloud9 MIBR tonight. So that's going to be particularly telling as well. So very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Just wanted to click back quickly onto this to see how it's going for BME. They finally got a round one on the board against PaperX. Maybe this is the chance for PaperX to actually come back and win the series. But hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.